Remember the big helicopter rock drop last February? Well, those rocks are still there right now, but they will eventually be removed and replaced with roller compacted concrete next season.
So these things were...
Here's the helicopter bags.
Yeah, mass filled with concrete, sand, aggregates, whatever they could find to just basically pile into those rocks during the emergency.
Yeah, you can see the original erosion. Wow.
And so we threw those in here as fast as we could. This area didn't have any truck access, so the only thing we could use was helicopters to get it over here. Right after, those first couple days afterward.
What's the plan for these bags now?
I would presume that this will just all be removed.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll fill in this whole area with RCC.
Oh, okay.
So all of this is going to be cement next year?
Mm-hmm. Down to the...
There's the old access to the spillway.
Yep, that's the old boat ramp access.
The name secant because the walls are cut into each other as opposed to tangent right next to each other. Here's how the construction of the secant wall is going on at Oroville to date, with some interesting new details.
The spillway we had up there is 732 feet away from the secant pile wall, and it's parallel. The secant pile wall is actually an underground cutoff wall. It's going to be a reinforced concrete wall that's drilled. They're drilled shafts, and they actually overlap each other, or they're secanted over the top of each other. And so it makes a continuous wall. There's about 125 drill shafts or so.
There's 110 sections. Each section has 5 shafts. In the series of 5, they're 3 foot in diameter with a 1 foot overlap. Your 2 ends in your middle are not reinforced, so there's no steel in it.
Right.
And your second and fourth one is reinforced with steel.
Gotcha.
And between each set, there's a 1 foot gap. And it runs 1,800 feet down. So the theory is...
what's the theory on that?
Well, the theory is if they're for relief drainage, if they need it.
To go through the gap.
Yeah. Okay. You don't want to create a hydraulic issue.
Oh, yeah. You just blow the whole thing out instead of blowing the whole thing out. Yeah.
Inevitably, water seeps through the ground up here. If you drill a hole anywhere out here, you're going to find water at some depth.
Right.
And with a lake above us also, that potentially could, feed that hydraulic, conductivity underneath the water, or underneath the ground here. But the idea here is that if we have to use the emergency spillway ever again, we hope we never have to. But if we do, this would be the point where we would stop any headward erosion. So the water would come down over the emergency spillway. There'll be roller compacted concrete, what we call a splash pad, from in between the 2 structures. Once you get down to the secant pile wall, there'll just be a little taper off the edge, and the water will roll off here and hit the natural topography again. So what we don't want to happen is we don't want that undercutting to start going back towards our structure and potentially failing the structure. So this creates a cutoff for that water to have any headward erosion.
And you want to clarify something. I mentioned on one of my videos that I thought it was an oversight that there was this collision between the rigs and the power lines, but that's not the case. Everybody knew that was going to be a problem, and it's part of the schedule, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's part of the schedule. They're getting real close to having the permanent rerouting power lines done. We actually have a meeting next week to discuss coordination between Kiewit and the power line group. Once we reroute the power lines, I think at the end of September, we're scheduled to pull the shoe fly lines out so they can continue the forest end of the power.
Because the whole idea of this secant wall is to get it done around December, January time frame.
I think we have a finished date right now scheduled for the end of December.
End of December. All right, good.
Did you say how deep it goes into the ground? The deepest drills are about 65 feet. Some of these holes might go a little bit, plus or minus. The goal is to embed those shafts at least 10 to 15 feet into the bedrock down at the bottom. So we actually need this big guy right here. This is the BG50 drill, and it's a hammer drill. I think Tom was about to start talking about this before, but it actually is. What we're doing is we're pre-drilling with these lighter duty ones through the softer soils. But then once we get down to that really hard base, bedrock, this guy's a hammer drill, and he can pound through that rock pretty quick. quickly. It vibrates as it's actually pounding the and the rotating head at the bottom.
And how deep do you typically go into the bedrock with this guy?
10 to 15
10
feet.
to 15 feet. All right, good.
That's the goal.
Yep.
So is it going to go through basically that hill right over there? Or
It's going to run up close to it. So the hill that you're seeing all the way on the other side is actually that's the other side of the spillway.
Oh yeah, right.
You can see the wall there on the
Where
corner.
the cars or
So
trucks.
it's going to go a little bit. It's going to go right up through that parking lot. I think it's going to stop right around there, right up near the edge of the other spillway. Yeah.
Where the power?
The secant cutoff wall is a very important new addition to the Oroville Dam complex and will prevent erosion from ever threatening the emergency spillway if the emergency spillway is ever used again.